Hey, what is up guys, it is me Flavio here, back with another Mafia City video. I gotta admit the title is a little clickbait, otherwise nobody would have clicked on this video. But what I'm actually trying to say in this video is that mansion level has a very small impact on stats, and in fact there are two other factors that are more important when it comes to stats that nobody talks about. In this video we're gonna see how much of an impact mansion level actually has on stats, and it's probably going to surprise a lot of you because it's not as much as you think it is. However, before we begin this video, I'd like to show you the results of 3 polls that I posted in the past few days. In the first poll I asked whether a 600% biker was good for a player or not. Around 49% voted yes, their stats are good, only 11% said that their stats are bad, and the remaining 40% of players said that they needed more information to judge whether their stats are good or bad. Now, this is one way of looking at stats. You can look at the numbers a player has, and solely based on the numbers, you can judge whether their stats are good or bad. So maybe for some players, anything above 500 is good and anything below is bad, while for others the number might be 300 or even 700. If you're judging stats this way, you're not going to consider any other factors like mansion level or the other two ones that we're going to talk about in this video. So in my opinion, it's not a very effective way of judging a player's stats, and the answer to this poll should simply be no, because you'd still need more information to be able to tell if their account was built properly or not. In the second poll, I gave an extra piece of information, the player's mansion level. I asked if a player has an Elite 1 account that has 800% stats, is that now enough information to judge whether their stats are good or not? In this case, about 76% of players voted yes, their stats are good, while only 6% said that their stats were bad, and only 18% asked for more info. And I read the comments of this post to see what kind of info they wanted from me, and most players said that they needed to know the other stats of the player, like the health, defense, damage, and charge damage of all 4 troop types to be able to judge whether their stats are good or not. So finally, I did a third poll where I gave all of that info. It was the same Elite 1 account that had 800% biker attack, but this time I also told them to assume that their other stats are also decent for someone with 800% biker attack. Now obviously when someone says that they're 800% biker, it means that their highest stat is 800% biker. Some people pointed out that what if the 800% biker attack has 1400% shooter, but if they did have 1400% shooter, then in that case I would have just said that they had 1400% shooter, because saying that they have 800% biker in that case would be misleading. So this would mean that they have enough info now to make up their minds, and the answer should easily be yes. But surprisingly, this time almost 50% of the people voted that their stats are bad, and only 33% said that their stats are good. Why did this happen? Well, it happened because I added an extra piece of information that nobody asked for, and that is the amount that they had spent. At the very start of the poll, I mentioned that they had spent a total of $100,000 on their account, and I chose such a huge number on purpose because I wanted to make it obvious that their stats are bad. But I was still surprised that about 33% of players voted that their stats are good. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at in this video is why their stats were bad for those of you that voted for the first option. Before we move further, make sure you scroll down and hit that like button if you're liking this video, or hit the dislike button if you're not liking it, because both of those help with the YouTube algorithm. Let's say we only have $100,000 to spend on an account. Let's consider the cost of maxing out a few things. Let's say we get SVIP 10 for $3,500, we buy the Ultimate set for $8,000, we max out our Vigilante skills for $10,000, we invest around $17,000 to augment our equipment, and about $18,000 to get a bunch of emblems. Finally, we invest $40,000 in babes, which leaves us with around $3,000 left to spend. So now let's take a look at the stats that we get from all of this spending. Leader equipment gives us 540% biker attack, emblems give us 547%, and these two combined already put you above 1000%. Then we get another 511% from babes, 360% from Vigilante skills, and finally 23% from the SVIP 10 buff. All of these combined put us at around 1982%, although there are a few things that I considered in these percentages that I shouldn't have, like the legendary set, the creature queen babe, and we've also assumed that the player only uses emblems that give biker attack. Even if we subtract 500% to account for all of these differences, we're still left with almost 1500% stats, So clearly 800% is terrible for anyone who spent $100,000 on the game. And you'll be surprised to find out that you can achieve all of these stats in the game, even as a Mansion 26 or as a Mansion 24 for that matter. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at the max stats that you can get as a Mansion 26, a Mansion 30, and at Elite 6. This is going to show us how much extra stats we unlock whenever we upgrade our mansion to these levels. If you have an Elite 6 mansion, the max biker attack you can get as per my 4000% biker attack video is 4119.9%. If you're only a Mansion 30, then this number becomes 4067.9%. It only goes down by 52%, 10% because of the extra buffs you get from an Elite 6 mansion, and 42% because of the extra buffs you get from Elite investments. The percentage you get from all the other remaining sources remains the same. For a Mansion 26, it goes down by another 857%, all the way down to 3210.9%. Out of the 857%, only 2% comes from investments, while the remaining 855% come from turf skins, turf effects, and combined ops effects, because you need to be at least a Mansion 30 to get buffs from all of these sources. So basically, since most players don't max out their decorations, they're only getting a 2% increase in biker attack by upgrading from Mansion 26 to Mansion 30, and up to a 7% increase in health and defense, which is barely going to make a difference in their stats. The reason I'm making this video is because I've seen a lot of people who like to stay at a lower level mansion and not upgrade higher just because they think that their stats are not good enough for the higher level mansion, and in fact doing that only slows down their growth even further. I'll give you an example of how that happens. Let's say there are two Mansion 29s with 150% stats each. One of them upgrades to Mansion 30 immediately, while the other thinks that their stats are not good enough for Mansion 30, so they're gonna wait till they get 200% stats to upgrade to Mansion 30. Now, since the first person has already upgraded to Mansion 30, they'll be able to unlock tier 10 troops a lot faster. This means that their base stats are going to go up substantially, so they'll be able to use tier 10 bikers instead of tier 8 bikers, which would increase their base biker attack by around 40%, their base biker defense by around 38%, and their base biker health by another 40%. They'll also be able to upgrade their tier 7 bulkers to tier 10 bulkers, which gives them a 67% increase in their base bulker defense and a 61% increase in their base bulker health. Keep in mind that these percentage increases are not the regular percentages that you see in battle reports, but they're increases in your base stats. If you want to convert them to the regular percentages that you see in your battle reports, you'll have to multiply them with your current attack, defense, and health percentages. For example, our player that has a plus 150% biker attack basically has a base biker attack of 100% plus the bonus attack of 150%, making their total biker attack 250%. However, when they upgrade to tier 10, they get a 40% increase in their base attack, which means that their base is now going to go up to 140%, and so their bonus will also go up to 210%, making their total biker attack 350%. So while the Mansion 29 player is still sitting at plus 150% biker, the Mansion 30 player has already upgraded to almost plus 250% biker by just unlocking tier 10 troops. This will obviously not show in the stats section of the report, however, this is the strength of the tier 10 troops that they just unlocked. This means that the Mansion 30 player will be able to do much better in a lot of events because of their stronger troops, winning them better rewards and helping them grow a lot faster. They'll also be able to get way ahead of the Mansion 29 in the Slammer, so they'll also get way more family gold to boost their stats even further. Finally, they'll also be able to upgrade their Hitman hotels and family business zone to level 30, which will give them slightly more Hitman coins and family gold per day compared to the Mansion 29. What does the Mansion 29 get for staying at that level? They're just going to save a bunch of resources which they're probably going to use to invest at the Invest Center, or they'll use to max out a bunch of useless buildings like the Security Center, Black Market, or the Vault, which is even worse. They'll maybe get like 1 or 2% stats from the Invest Center while still getting fewer Hitman coins and family gold in the Mansion 30 account every single day. So there's really no benefit in staying at a lower mansion level. In most cases, it's just better to upgrade your mansion whenever you can after you've maxed out key buildings like the diner, invest center, and troop camps if you're below mansion 30. And if you're above mansion 30, you'd also want to max out elite investments because they make your troops significantly stronger by strengthening their elite skills. But you don't want to do the investments in the crew capabilities and advanced arms section because those tend to be way more expensive than the elite investments at higher levels. So now let's talk about the factors that your stats depend on. The first one is quite obvious, it's the amount you spend on the game. If you spend a total of $100,000 on the game and you only have 800% stats, then your stats are garbage regardless of your mansion level. It doesn't matter if you're an Elite 5, an Elite 1, or a Mansion 20 with 800%. The only exception would be if you really have a low mansion level like Mansion 5 or 6, because in that case it would really be difficult to improve your stats because of not being able to access features like the contract agency, family business center, etc., which give a ton of stat. I've already explained why 800% is most likely bad if you spend $100,000 at the beginning of the video, so I'm not going to go over it again. The second factor that impacts your stats is the amount of time you've been playing this game for. If you've only been playing this game for a month or two, then your stats will be much lower than someone who's already been playing this game for a year and has spent the same amount as you. There are two main reasons why the amount of time is important. The first reason is because the longer you play, the more events you'll be able to do, the more resources you'll be able to farm and gather, and the more street forces and mercenaries you'll be able to attack. So doing all of this will put you way ahead of newer players. The second reason why time is important is because the longer you play, the more you'll have access to cheaper packs. For example, if a player wants to max out a vigilante in a single day, it's going to cost them thousands of dollars to do so because they'll be forced to buy the $100 vigilante packs, which barely give any vigilante fragments. However, if they don't mind waiting for a long time to max out the vigilante, then it'll cost them significantly less because they'll only have to buy the $5 vigilante packs, which are probably 10 times better than the $100 packs. Obviously, the third factor is your mansion level, not so much because of investments, but mainly to know what features you have access to. For example, turf skins, turf effects, and ops effects are only unlocked at Mansion 30, so there is a jump of 855% in the max stats when you upgrade from Mansion 29 to Mansion 30 just because of this new feature. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. I just wanted to show you guys why it is much more important to consider the amount you spend and the time you've played while judging your stats, and not basing it solely on mansion level. In fact, mansion level has very little relevance when it comes to stats. As we saw earlier, your attack only goes up by 52% when you upgrade from Mansion 30 to Elite 6, and it only goes up by 2% from investments when you upgrade from Mansion 26 to Mansion 30. By not upgrading your mansion level when you have nothing better to do with your resources, all you're really doing is you're reducing your Hitman coin and family gold income, because your Hitman hotels and family business centers are going to be at lower levels. You're restricting access to higher tier troops or certain elite skills which can make your march even stronger, even though they don't have an impact on your stats. You're reducing your max op size because you're restricting your diner upgrades. Your reduced op size and march power will lead to a poor performance in events like the Family Treasure, 3v3, and also poor performance in the Slammer, which will reduce the rewards that you get from these events. All of this only slows down your progress even further. It's not going to help you gain any significant edge over other players. Stats mostly come from spending, and spending does not require resources. If you're going to choose to stay at a lower mansion level to improve your stats, then you need to ask yourself where you're going to invest those extra resources and what stats you're going to get from them. Once you know the exact amount of stats you're getting by not upgrading your mansion level, that's when you can decide whether or not you want to do it. Finally, just in case anyone asks, the reason why I'm still Mansion 26 is because I plan on staying Mansion 26 forever. It's great content for the videos, and I also like burning elites as a lower level mansion. However, for anyone planning to upgrade their mansion at some point in the future, I wouldn't recommend waiting to reach a certain level of stats before you upgrade. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Whether you think money and time spent are more important than mansion level while judging stats, or whether mansion level is still the most important factor. Before I end this video, I'd like to thank all of my patrons for the support. If you want to support me, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you guys found the video helpful. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I will see y'all in the next one.